Hello, I'm excited that Pete Caputa, CEO of Databox, is going to join me on my vlog this week. Pete, if those of you don't know, originally I met him at HubSpot when he ran the agency partner program. He was one of their first salespeople at HubSpot. He created the partner program as a side project, which turned into a $100 million business, generating about half their revenue. So this is a smart guy to listen to. He then went on to be the CEO of Databox, and he'll tell us a little bit about that, and created an incredible partner program there as well. Proud to be partners in both those programs, and I'll leave the rest for the interview. So here we go. Maybe you can start by just kind of introducing yourself, a little bit about your background.
Sure. So I am Pete Caputa, currently CEO of Databox. Been working in internet marketing for almost 20 years now, around 20 years. Started building websites, figured out SEO and email marketing. I ended up having my own small software company where we provided marketing services in order to keep the lights going and bootstrap the software company. After a bunch of years, realized that we weren't going to make that happen. I had a baby, got married, bought a house, and really needed to make a living. So I ended up luckily joining HubSpot as the 15th employee there, the fourth person in sales in 2007, right after the A round was raised. So for me, that was, I think most people would look at that and say that's a risky career choice. But for me, that was a steady paycheck compared to what I had. Ended up doing well in sales there. I petitioned to start the agency partner program, which is, of course, how we met in 2009, and scaled that up to about 100 million in annual revenue. It's still, growing. But I was looking for, as HubSpot got bigger, I was looking for my next entrepreneurial challenge. I wanted to run something from a strategic perspective, and ended up connecting with the guys at Databox.
You glossed over like a minor detail about how you started out the agency program at HubSpot. I mean, wasn't actually something that was planned. It was something that came out of something you thought up of, and I was wondering, like, what made you think that this would be a good channel?
Well, before I joined HubSpot, as I mentioned, I was kind of selling marketing services, even though we had a software tool that helped people with marketing their events. We ended up really helping small businesses market. So we were doing email marketing. We kind of branched into SEO, did a few websites, and I saw how hard that was to really, for an agency to really build a business by offering those services. And pretty much that's what every agency was offering back in like 2008, 2009. It was, we'll build your website, and then we'll do like a few months of SEO, and then, oh, of course we'll do your email marketing. But like, that wasn't a very good thing, because it would be like a few grand up front for the website, maybe $1,000 a month for the SEO. And then like email marketing was like $250, $500 a month. And that's pretty much what agencies charge. So as you know, it's hard to build a business on such small dollars. And so I recognized that agencies were struggling because of my own first-hand experience, and because I started talking to them at HubSpot, and realized that because HubSpot offered a broader set of tools, specifically around blogging and lead capture, that we could go to an agency and say, hey, offer these tools and charge a lot more per month. And because blogging and lead capture and email marketing and analyzing and even SEO, of course, are not one-time things, or became things that if you invested in them on a regular basis, that you would get better and better results. It became obvious for agencies that they should kind of package those services up and sell them. So I started helping agencies doing that, and realized like, oh, okay, I can help agencies do that. And of course, like, they're going to need software to execute on it. So that's what got agencies to resell. But it was always about helping the agencies deliver more value to clients, and helping them also help themselves with, bigger retainers. So then, HubSpot grew as a side effect of that. You know that whole story there, right?
Yeah.
You lived it.
When we had a chance to use HubSpot, we just thought it would be the same experience, but we had no choice because the customer wanted HubSpot. And we were overwhelmed by the amount of support that we got, and it was just a no-brainer from there. And then, I think we signed on, I can't remember, September, October 2014, and we just wouldn't
Hmm.
recommend, we wouldn't work with anybody else. So it's
Wow,
been a quick
that's cool. At the time, I had no idea it was going to work out as well as it is, but
right.
it's great. It's great to hear the stories of how
No,
it's helped.
and it's incredible that you took the model to Databox. Just tell me a little bit about Databox.
Yeah, so I think at HubSpot, where I spent most of our time is helping agencies get clients on board, right? HubSpot really started with marketing, of course, expanded into sales, now recently into service. But I think a lot of the focus was helping agencies secure those retainers. And of course, HubSpot did a good job, I think, of teaching agencies how to use the software and deliver the services. But where I think we stopped short was really, and they did some things, so I want to give credit where credit's due, but I think there's a lot more to be done around helping agencies retain and upsell and cross-sell services, all in the pursuit of driving more value to the client. And so that's where Databox plays. We're a lot more agnostic in terms of the tools that you use to execute the services. And really the idea is that most agencies use a slew of services to deliver value to clients. So even if you're using HubSpot, many of them will use a tool, an SEO tool like SEMrush, or social tools, or you might not use the ads add-on, or you might use LinkedIn ads or something that's not as well covered in the ads add-on. So and you're going to use YouTube to promote content, and you might use a tool like 7 Cents to do send time personalization, or a tool like Drift to do chat or chatbots, and a tool like Workcast to do webinars, or Eventbrite to do an event, right? And so if you're providing all these services with all these tools, it becomes really challenging for an agency to show all of the impact that they're having for their client. So what Databox does is connect to actually not every one of the ones I listed, but almost all of the ones I listed, all except one right now. And it pulls the performance data out of those tools so that you can visualize performance across your inbound marketing, across your sales funnel, across your event marketing, across your social and your ads, and if your chat, we have some PR connections. So it basically covers all of those things services that you might provide to a client, and pulls that performance data in. Once you have the data in there, you can create dashboards, you can set goals on any metric, you can set alerts, you can query the data on Slack, it can present it on a TV, you can access it on your mobile phone, you can add comments to the data so that people you can add context to why certain numbers are going in certain directions. So the idea is to really enable that communication to clients, and also really enable an agency to have a handle on all their data from all their clients in one spot, so they can actually monitor performance and not worry about whether things are going in the right direction or not.
I can definitely attest to the need for that tool. I mean, like I said before,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're definitely big users. I think almost every one of our customers. In fact, I have companies that I've advised for that aren't even customers that I've recommended to use it.
Cool.
The biggest pain point
Okay.
is definitely, like you said, is having multiple sources. In fact, the ones that are using HubSpot or other marketing automation tools, and then also using Salesforce.com, and then even at
Yep.
those, having the ability to bring in those two tools and the data for them is incredibly valuable, and having it online at any
Yep.
time executives want to take a look at
Yep.
it. I feel like what differentiated HubSpot, and I think Databox, the same thing for us as an agency, is that it is the agency focus. It's almost like the boutique service that we get as an agency,
Mm-hmm.
with Databox, and we find it. But you find that what else is there that's kind of better than the next guy? Because there are some other solutions out there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of tools out there with a similar promise, for sure. I think first of all, we put a lot of effort into, and I know a lot of them will say this and it sounds cheesy and I hate saying it, but making it easy to set up and get your data into the system. But just yesterday, I got a quote from an agency that started using us, and I won't mention the competitors, but they're using a competitor which is actually much more expensive than us, that just didn't pull the data they needed, and they had to basically hire the company to do it, and they still couldn't figure it out because they just don't have the context of, say, HubSpot, for example. And then, whereas with Databox, you can just basically click, 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 and there's a lot of pre-built already dashboards together. If not, you can just drag and drop metrics that you want to track, all things that you'll recognize based on the HubSpot terminology or Google Analytics terminology or Wistia or YouTube, et cetera. So we make it very drag and drop and kind of click, click, click to set up your dashboards and pull your data in from those systems. From an agency perspective, we also, and I don't like to sell based on costs, but we have rolled out a model where agencies, even small agencies, can afford to standardize on us without denting their margins at all. Whereas a lot of the other tools, you'll start at several $100s and go up to several $1,000s, even if you just have a handful of clients. Like we have some agencies that only pay us a few $100, maybe some few $100 to $1,000 for like 40 clients. And so, assuming that agency cares about actually driving value and was manually producing some kind of deck, like it becomes a no-brainer in that for 10 to 30 bucks a month per client, they can eliminate the hour plus of pulling data in to a deck or a spreadsheet. We're also all about like focusing in on the marketing world. Like we've built 65 out-of-the-box integrations. We have hundreds of templates. A lot of that focus is on marketing. I did a list of like all of the marketing services that you can track through Databox the other day, and there's like 20 different services that you can track through Databox. So if you're everything from chat and video marketing to content marketing and social and ads and on, PR, et cetera. So that focus of building out, understanding the marketing use cases and building it out so it's really easy to set up the marketing tracking.
I have a couple more questions, but one more question about Databox is what's coming? Is there any?
Yeah. So we rolled out a lot of new functionality over the last year. So the last quarter, we've actually added a lot of engineering talent, some QA talent. We're really scaling. We added a lot of users and needed to scale some of our systems. But we are working on some new things. One thing that's imminent is data calculations. We've actually had it in beta for about a year. And there were a few use cases like specific calculations that you couldn't do. So we had to do some back end work to make that happen. But now it's like as simple as like, I don't know if you've ever looked at like third grade math homework worksheets where you have like lines and how they teach them to kind of put the numbers and do the math. It's like that. It's an interface where you literally just, I want to add these two numbers. I want to divide these two numbers, or, put a quotation around these two numbers so that the order of operations works. It's a very simple way of building a calculation, similar to the way you would in a spreadsheet, but a little more visual. And so that'll roll out very soon.
Is that something that could kind of allow us to create a dashboard that shows something like ROI based on channel or based on different campaigns?
Yeah. So like obviously you got to get the data into the system. Once you have the data in the system, it can do any math. So we've had a bunch of companies come and say, hey, I'm running ads on Facebook, LinkedIn, and at Google Ads, and I need to add together my budget, my clicks, and my conversions, right? And then do the math and divide those things up to get the rates. So rates is a big one. Return on ROI type stuff is another one. We have some situations where a company might have 3 websites and they just want an aggregate view of the data across those websites. So like, want to add this traffic, and just want to see right. That doesn't mean you wouldn't look at them individually either, but they want to see that high level, view.
So recently, over the last 6 months, we built up something that I've been calling Penguin Labs, kind of in stealth mode. Many times over the past few years, companies reach out to us, not necessarily as an agency, but as a HubSpot partner and say, hey, we provide marketing technology. We want to build a channel program like HubSpot did. And I always tell them to go talk to Pete, but then, then I realize that, some of them we've taken on and they come in and we kind of give them some structure and some advice. And so kind of, I'm kind of asking you as I think an expert, is your second time building out an agency channel program. I think I've seen a lot of the different strategies and tactics you guys have been doing. I get your emails every other week, building out
Yeah.
these ebooks with agency input. That's an incredible program. But what
Mhm.
would you advise someone who's kind of just starting out and saying, okay, I need an agency program. Where should they start? Usually we're dealing with companies that are very early stage, limited resources, but
Yeah.
they want to do this.
Yeah. It's funny. I do get requests for those calls several times a week. However, I usually tell half of them, if not more, that they shouldn't do it. Most of them are not doing it for the right reasons. They think, and a lot of them are doing it too early. And so a lot of times they're coming and thinking it's the answer to their sales problem. And I don't think that's the case. One thing that HubSpot had figured out was a relatively scalable direct sales model, which makes it more attractive for an agency. Not only do they have the actual selling motion and process figured out for the most part, but if a MarTech company is signing on direct accounts, they can potentially be a great referral source for agencies. The other reason I tell them not to do it is because I think they're just doing it from a very selfish perspective, and a lot of times they don't actually have enough meat on the bones for an agency that will motivate them. So the nice thing about HubSpot is that the platform is really broad. It enables a slew of services. So for every dollar or so that the software costs, there's $5 to $10 of services work around it or more. Whereas, if you're not selling something that enables the agency to offer services, then it's really hard to get the attention of the agency. The other thing I run into is agencies, the MarTech companies' price is just too high, and it just doesn't work to build a channel through marketing agencies unless you have a price at the low point. Because every agency, even more successful ones, have a range, like you guys have a range of clients that pay a smaller amount and a larger amount, and your whole funnel is going to attract, for the most part, companies with different budgets. And so and there's very few agencies that have only have clients at the high end. And if they do, they just keep going up and up and up, where they become they just never will drive enough volume for a MarTech company. So the real benefit to the MarTech company when working with marketing agencies is to work with a large number of smaller agencies at a relatively low price point. So for those reasons, I tell MarTech companies all the time to not bother. There are a few that have broken through that actually I've worked with quite closely because our missions align. 7 Cents is one, Ceros is another. But I think I don't know if you're a Wistia partner, but their program is built based off of the HubSpot model. So there's a bunch of them out there that do fit those criteria, and in those scenarios, I think it makes a lot of sense to build out a program.
Not doing it too soon, not doing it for selfish reasons.
Yeah.
The ability to offer
Yeah.
services around it makes total sense, right? Why would I invest in a tool that just and then price. So I think that's something that's you have to take a look at your price point, and that makes a lot of sense. Definitely the program that you put together makes a lot of sense.
And then after that, the next question I ask is, do you have agencies successfully using your product now to deliver value to their clients? And if they don't, then that's the first step. And so that's going to take 3 to 6 months, if not more, to make that of one person's effort to make that work. So I think that's always the next milestone. I think the output of that is case studies, and those case studies are really what helps to drive the next 100, 200, 300 partners on board.
And anything else you're up to, advising any cool companies or anything else worth mentioning?
One thing I'm really excited about is we're about to launch, and it's not necessarily product related, although there will be some little global product connection. But we're launching a methodology. One of I'm an engineer by background. I've always been in tech and always been in companies that have grown as a result of being really diligent about using data to make decisions. And I think that's rare. Most companies don't operate that way, or maybe they want to, but they fall short. And so we'll be launching a methodology that has two components. The first component is teaching companies a cadence around selecting initiatives, setting goals, adapting their plans, and monitoring their progress, and really a system on how they can do that on a very regular basis in order to consistently improve their metrics. The second thing will actually be advice and knowledge on how to actually improve very specific metrics. This will span the entire business. It'll be heavy on marketing, sales, and service. But things like, how do you reduce your bounce rate? How do you increase your lead volume? How do you grow your organic traffic? Simple as like, how do you increase your Twitter followers? And down to like, how do you qualify more leads? How do you connect with more leads? How do you close more deals? Things like that. And then, how do you respond faster to your support inquiries, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll be building out this broad methodology around how to improve very specific metrics. And it'll all be free. It'll be
Wow. And it's gonna be like in a knowledge base.
Our product.
It's gonna be in the...
Yeah, exactly. Yep, it'll be navigable and based on what they're trying to do, so that they can identify. If they know they want to work on launching a video marketing initiative, they'll be able to just go to the video marketing initiative page, see the different metrics they should use to measure their progress, how to improve those metrics, different ways to improve those metrics, or if they've been doing video marketing for 6 months and they just want to start being more diligent about improving the results every month, like they'll have similar advice.
Well, Pete, thanks a lot for agreeing to have this call with me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity to share what's going on.
So I had an incredible call with Pete, where he shared some great insights on growing an agency channel. I think the things that he said are true for building any channel. If you're really in it for the right reasons and you're helping your channel grow and helping them with their businesses, it will help. It'll resonate and it will help you as well. So if you're interested, he's open to any reach outs, as I am, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week.